This is Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi.
All right, this one is straight out of a horror movie, but unfortunately, it's all too real. 49-year-old Maryland woman Candace Craig will be spending the rest of her life in prison for brutally murdering and dismembering her own mother with a chainsaw. Of all the things to pick, we're gonna go right to horror movie. And if that wasn't twisted enough, she then tried to blame her own special needs daughters. Even the prosecutors in this case were left stunned. Assistant State's Attorney Shauna Coleman, clearly at a loss of words, summed it up perfectly. This happens in movies and books, not in real life, but here we are. This nightmare unfolded on May 23rd of 2023 at the family's home near Hyattsville, Maryland. And what was the alleged motives? A credit card dispute. Yeah, a credit card dispute. A fight over money led Candace Craig to commit one of the most gruesome crimes in recent memory. After killing her 71-year-old mother, Margaret Craig, authorities say Candace took things to an unthinkable level. She chopped up her mother's body, and she didn't do it alone. Her 21-year-old daughter, Salia Hardy, was dragged into the mess too. According to prosecutors, the two of them tried burning Margaret's remains on a grill, while also cooking chicken at the same time.
Like, I can't.
Oh my God.
Like, they literally thought the smell would mask the other smell.
Or they were hungry and
Let's
thought,
cook
why not
chicken.
have some chicken with mom?
So if we're grilling all of that, no one will notice that part of this is a human. Like, no one will smell that. Oh my
That
God.
is like one of the worst sentences I think I've ever read.
And the fact that they thought of this, it was, or she did, I'm assuming. Like, I got an idea. Let's cook chicken at the same time.
Did they put barbecue on mom too? Or was it just the chicken? Did they baste her? I'm not trying to be gross here, but like these are idiots. I mean, so I'm wondering, like, are they like trying to prepare it the same way as and what parts of mom did they put on the grill?
And
why?
And you don't think at some point people are going to be looking for mom? You really do think you can get away with this?
When have you ever cooked something on a grill and the bone turned into charcoal?
Yeah. And there's just so many things I don't. If you're going to do this to your own mother, which I can't wrap my brain around this, like, couldn't you just dispose of her in other ways? Like, what part of grilling her makes... Like, it's just...
It's so absurd. I mean, it's... According to prosecutors, the two of them tried burning Margaret's remains on a grill while also cooking chicken at the same time. Oh my God, it goes there. I'm going to read this again from the top because this is such a crazy sentence. Barbecue sauce becomes involved. I was joking. I was fucking joking. And it becomes part of this story. Oh my God. According to prosecutors, the two of them tried burning Margaret's remains on a grill while also cooking chicken at the same time, apparently thinking the smell of barbecue would somehow cover up the stench of burning human flesh, because nothing says totally normal backyard cookout like gasoline and human remains on a grill.
So sick. And this is her mother. All because my guess is credit card dispute equals she had been using her mother's credit card and probably maxed it out. And mom found out and was pissed off. And this is what she does. Because I can't imagine it's like, you charged $20 on my credit card, and she got that pissed off.
And this
think it's probably bigger. Than
this isn't like some 19-year-old, 20-year-old that's, acting like a petulant teenager. This is a 47-year-old woman attacking her 71-year-old mom. Yeah. So Salia Hardy, the daughter, later charged as an accessory after the fact. Her defense argued that she had learning disabilities, making her especially vulnerable to manipulation. She ended up taking a plea deal and later testified against her mother. Good. When the case eventually hit the courtroom, it was as disturbing as you'd expect. Judge Karen Mason didn't mince words when she called Craig's actions something so unimaginable that she handed down the ultimate punishment, life in prison without parole. And while the details of this case and the exact brand of barbecue sauce that she used could make the most seasoned crime reporter queasy, the prosecution didn't want to focus on the horror. Instead, they tried to shift attention to Margaret Craig's life rather than just the brutality of her death. I would instead like to preserve the memory of Margaret Craig, Coleman said, choosing to honor the victim rather than dwell on the carnage. Mm-hmm. One of the most damning pieces of evidence came from Salia Hardy herself. She testified that on the night of the murder, she heard her grandmother scream, but her mother brushed it off, saying, "Something just fell on the basement." Yeah, Grandma's head. Oh, and then she casually warned her daughter not to go into Grandma's room. Not right now, honey. She's sleeping. The next day, when Hardy was home alone, she made a horrifying discovery: her grandmother's lifeless body, stuffed in a bin with a trash bag covering her head. And if that wasn't disturbing enough, Candace Craig wasn't even trying to justify what she had done. Instead, she told her daughter that they had to get rid of the DNA, going straight to the facts. Apparently, she hasn't listened to this show or watched Dateline enough. The options she suggested: acid. So, honey, we can do acid, we can burn the body, or dismember it, or all of the above.
Burn and dismember with a little acid.
You go get the Sweet Baby Ray's. You know, just a casual brainstorming session about how to cover.
But this poor daughter who has learning disabilities has just found her grandmother dead. Her mom's saying, let's dismember her to destroy evidence. This girl could think she's next. What is she going to do?
Or she can think this is normal.
Yeah.
Too.
I can't imagine that she's had a great upbringing if this is her mom and these are the decisions her mom makes.
No.
I mean, she could think she's going to die too or feel threatened. Why wouldn't she feel threatened?
One can only
What's
imagine.
happening to Grandma?
One can only imagine what kind of a hell that has been with
It's
this
just
mom.
sick.
Prosecutors laid out exactly how methodical Craig was. She went to Home Depot because, of course she did, and bought grilling supplies. Yes, grilling supplies, including a can of gasoline. But her plan didn't go smoothly. When they tried to burn Margaret Craig's body on the grill, the fire got out of control, prompting neighbors to step in and find out, or help pull it out. Firefighters were even called. And yet, somehow, firefighters show up, the neighbors are over there, your grill is on fire, and part of your mom is in it. Flame charred.
And you know,
no one knew. No one discovered the body at that time.
And who knows how much, what exactly was on the grill.
She probably looked like a piece of brisket.
Yeah, and if there was a big fire, that would be so horrific. You would just assume she's grilling a huge piece of meat or something, maybe. Like,
yeah, the big thing, though, would be the smell. Because I don't care what the hell you're doing. If you smell burning flesh of a human, that's a acid, horrible smell. And there ain't no amount of Sweet Baby Ray's Chipotle Mexicali mix topped with ranch seasoning that's going to hide that.
Do you think at that point maybe they had taken Mom out there and they were going to do this and just hadn't yet? Like the fire got out of control?
I don't know.
I don't know.
By the next morning, with the fire out and the remains cooled off, Hardy's words, not mine, they brought Margaret Craig's charred remains back inside to the house. So it was like a slow roast. That's when Candace allegedly took a chainsaw to what was left, dismembering her mother in the basement. Well, at least she didn't use those like pulled pork claws. That would be really fucking horrible. When police eventually arrived for a welfare check on June 2nd after a 911 caller reported they hadn't heard from Margaret in days, they were hit with the smell that could only mean one thing. You guessed it, decomposition. Officers found blood and tissue on the floor. They found 3 white plastic trash bags. One of them contained what looked like brain matter. Ugh. They didn't fry that up, I guess. That'd be more of a saute in the pan. Pan sear it, little butter, olive oil, garlic. And sitting nearby, a knife and a chainsaw, both covered in human remains. So they feel they need to go barbecue mom, but they're too stupid to realize, hey, we got to pick up around the house too.
And by they, let's be real, it's her.
It's her, yes, it is her. During trial, Assistant Medical Examiner Dr. Pamela Fiera revealed that investigators recovered 67 pieces of Margaret Craig's remains. 67 parts. But here's the unsettling part, if that wasn't already. Some body parts were never found. The condition of what they did find showed clear signs of both burning and dismemberment with a mechanical saw. While it was clear she was murdered, the exact cause of death still remains undetermined. After sentencing Craig to life without parole, Judge Mason left her with some haunting words. What we have here is a woman who led a good life and left this world in such a way that only you know, Miss Craig, exactly what happened here. And that's the terrifying part. Only Candace Craig knows exactly what happened that night. So what's left? A daughter who will be forever haunted by what she was forced to witness. A mother whose life was taken in one of the most violent ways imaginable, in a community still struggling to understand how someone could do something so horrific, especially to their own family. There are brutal crimes, and then there's this. Well, Candace Craig will never see the outside of a prison cell again. The real question is, what kind of person does this to their own mother?
Freaking monster.
Yeah, my God.
And there's no coming to an understanding. There's no understanding this crime. This is someone who has zero compassion, zero remorse, zero empathy. Like, she just doesn't have any kind of regular emotions about things. You know, the fact that you could kill your mother, and even if it was an accident, I doubt that it was, but even if it was, to decide this is what you're going to do to your mother, it's just so horrific. And then to drag her poor daughter into it too, and her daughter I'm not sure what her daughter received sentence-wise, but that's just horrible.
Yeah, I mean, you're putting someone into such a horrible moment and position, and someone, you know, if they do have some disabilities, they're not necessarily going to be the quickest to be able to say no, especially if it's your mom and you trust your mom. This is the pair, by the way, on the screen. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see it. And by the way, if you're listening on the podcast, you can now watch all of these episodes as well on our YouTube channel. So be sure to press subscribe there if you're watching right now. Just, you know, take a second. You got it done so you don't miss any of our stories and updates. And if you're listening on the podcast, be sure to press subscribe there as well. But yeah, it's... What else is going on in your life that you decide that chainsawing mama is the best course of action? I'm going to guess there might be something else that's troubling that's happening. Maybe, you know, or I don't know. I just do not know.
The latest true crime stories, expert breakdowns, and shocking twists, all in one place. Press subscribe now to the Hidden Killers podcast and True Crime Today.